Today, we're going to talk about a smarter way to build that self-control and focus you've always wanted. And we're not going to do it with brute force. We're going to use something way more elegant, Kaizen Psychology.
So let's just get right into it. Why is this so hard? I mean, we've all been there, right? You get super fired up about a new goal, and then a couple of weeks later, poof, you're right back where you started. What is going on?
Well, here's the thing. The whole problem is how we think about it. We treat self-control like it's this epic heavyweight fight against ourselves, a battle of sheer willpower. But what if that whole approach is just wrong? What if the problem isn't that you're weak, but that you're using the wrong kind of fuel to begin with?
Yeah, that brings us to what I like to call the motivation trap. Let's break down this sneaky little cycle that just completely torpedoes our best intentions.
This right here, this is the cycle of doom. When our motivation is sky high, we take these massive leaps, right? We join a gym, we totally overhaul our diet, we try to change everything all at once. But motivation is just a feeling. And feelings, as we know, they fade. And when it inevitably dips, we just crash. We get burned out, we feel like a failure, and we quit. It's this boom and bust cycle that is basically designed to fail.
So, if motivation is this unreliable roller coaster, what's the answer? Well, let's talk about a totally different philosophy, a much more sustainable path. Let's talk about the Kaizen way.
Now, Kaizen is a Japanese concept, and it basically means continuous improvement. But the real magic is in how you do it. It's all about making progress through tiny, almost insignificant, but consistent incremental changes. So forget the giant leaps. We're thinking small, deliberate steps.
And this is where it all clicks. This is the big mindset shift. We have to completely redefine what success looks like. The goal isn't to run a marathon tomorrow. Nope. The goal is just to put on your running shoes. It's about making that first step so small, so laughably easy, that it feels literally impossible not to do it.
Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice? We're going to break down 5 super practical, tiny habits. They're all rooted in this Kaizen psychology, and you can start using them like today to build real, lasting focus. All right, first up, habit number 1 is so simple, it's beautiful. It's called externalize your plan, and it's all about getting your to-dos out of your head and onto paper. So here's all you do. Before you call it a day, just write down the one single most important thing you need to do tomorrow. That's it. The psychology behind this is so cool. It's called cognitive offloading. Basically, instead of your brain wasting energy all night worrying about remembering that task, you've handed it off. You waked up with total clarity instead of that feeling of, oh, what do I even do first? Okay, on to our second habit. This one is such a game changer for just getting the ball rolling.
It is the famous 2-minute rule. You've probably heard of this one, and for good reason. It works like a charm.
The action could not be easier. If a task pops into your head that will take less than 2 minutes, just do it right then. Don't write it down, don't put it off. The psychological secret here is something called micro-progress. Every little task you knock out gives you a tiny hit of accomplishment, and that builds momentum, making it so much easier to tackle the next bigger thing on your list. All right, habit number 3. I gotta admit, this one is my personal favorite because it makes starting new things feel completely effortless. It's what I call the 1 push-up challenge. The whole idea is to shrink a new habit you want to build down to a version that's so tiny, it's almost absurd. So your goal isn't go to the gym for an hour anymore. Your new habit is do 1 push-up. It's not read a whole chapter, it's read 1 page. Why does this work? Because it completely demolishes the barrier to entry. See, the goal isn't the single push-up. The goal is to become the type of person who just shows up. You're building the identity first, not the result. And that is how you make habits stick.
Okay, from building routines, let's talk about building focus. Habit number 4 is a straight-up workout for your brain.
It's called single task for 5 minutes. You can think of this as your tiny act of rebellion against the constant stream of distractions in our world. And the action is once again super simple. Set a timer for just 5 minutes. And for those 5 minutes, you work on one thing. Only one thing. No checking your phone, no opening a new tab. It's like a bicep curl for your attention span. You're actively practicing focus and rewiring your brain to fight that constant urge to switch tasks. And that brings us to our 5th and final habit. And this one is absolutely crucial for locking in all your progress and making it last. We're going to call this one the 60-second win review. It's a tiny little moment of reflection that has a massive psychological payoff. Here's how it works. At the end of the day, you take just 60 seconds,
1 minute, to identify one small thing you did well. Did you do your one push-up? Did you single task for 5 minutes? Now, this isn't just some feel-good fluff. When you acknowledge that win, no matter how small, your brain releases a little bit of dopamine. That's the reward chemical. You're creating a feedback loop that literally makes you want to repeat the behavior.
You know, we've covered a lot, but this entire philosophy really just boils down to taking that first tiny step.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The key is to stop waiting around for some big wave of motivation to make a giant leap. Because real lasting change, it's built quietly, consistently, one tiny step after another.
So I'll leave you with this question. Forget about tomorrow. Forget about next week. What is one tiny thing, so small it's impossible to say no to, that you are going to do differently today?